Probably I'm the last one in my family to do it. And I really don't blame my son because I told him, you know, I want him to do whatever he wants to do. And actually I wouldn't encourage him anymore to do it because it's just too hard to make a living in family farming anymore. If you look at old maps of this place, there's different sections that were planted in different years. Some vines are as old as the early 1900s, and then the last patch was down here, which you can see those are the youngest on the property, and those were planted in the early 80s.
It was always fun to come to the farm, you know, as kids. It was wide open spaces, and I remember my grandfather always gave us a ride on the tractor. He'd hook up a trailer, and then we'd take it around the farm, and we'd always look forward to that. It's just a simple little pleasure, but, you know, 3 boys, it was fun.
My grandfather immigrated from Japan in the early 1900s. As soon as he had a family and started having kids, they would do farm work, much like Hispanics do now. They would pick grapes and go from farm to farm and work the fields. Of course, him not being a naturalized citizen, he couldn't own the land, but he had relatives that were citizens, so he had them buy it in their name and then he would pay them. So he had this place since 1938, right before the war.
Spring and summer of 1942. More than 100,000 men, women, and children, all of Japanese ancestry, removed from their homes in the Pacific Coast states to wartime communities established in out-of-the-way places. Their evacuation did not imply individual disloyalty, but was ordered to reduce a military hazard at a time when danger of invasion was great. The relocation centers are supervised by the War Relocation Authority. The entire community bounded by a wire fence and guarded by military police, symbols of the military nature of the evacuation. They are not prisoners, they are not internees. They are merely dislocated people, the unwounded casualties of war.
Him and his family were rounded up, and basically the camps weren't built yet, so they were sent to, I believe, the Fresno Fairgrounds, where they stayed in horse stalls. And so once the camps were up, him and his family were sent to Jerome, Arkansas. They had a neighbor that was good enough to watch over it while they were gone and keep it for them. And so when they came back, they still have the farm, and they worked it back up. It's definitely getting tougher to farm. There's just too many things going against you, you know. The water situation. Water's our main thing, and labor's another thing. Last year's crop, we still don't know what we're getting paid for it. One of the well-known raisin brands, they're giving us payments. And we got this year's crop coming in, even though we're still getting paid for last year's crop. So it's really tough right now. Whereas if you're a big corporate farmer, you got thousands of acres, different crops, and you're not worried about it as much. But as a family farmer, you're dependent upon each year's crop coming in so you could produce next year's crop. Plus all the negative press about all we do is spray pesticides, make dust, treat the workers badly, you know, and take advantage of them. There's laws and regulations we have to follow to make sure that we don't take advantage of people or blow pesticides everywhere. We have to take care of the land, otherwise there would be no farming anymore. The stuff that I can control, I enjoy. But stuff like the weather, commodity prices, whether you have enough labor, those kind of things just drive you batty because it's really nerve-wracking. All your year's hard work and income depend on each of those things coming through. So you don't get that steady paycheck. You have to put all your eggs in one basket and then it better come in, or you gotta finance yourself again the next year.
My dad was a really easygoing guy. Anytime a problem would come up, he would always tell me, you know, you only control what you can do. You can't control other people, or you can't control Mother Nature, or you can't control economic times. So you just got to live your life.
I'm hoping to do it maybe 10, 15 years more.
There's a lot of sentimentality to that. For me, I'm kind of the last in line. I think my father wanted me to kind of carry on the family line of farming, and so I always had it to fall back on. But I want my son to have his own life, you know, and not feel guilty that he has to carry it on. He has no ties to the farm because he didn't grow up here, so I'm okay with it.
Even after my dad passed away, it's kind of a weird feeling. I can still feel his presence. I don't know if that's hard to understand, but there'd be times when I'd come out of a row in a tractor, or I'd be going down a row, and I swear I could see him at the end of the row, watching me or something. It's kind of a comforting feeling knowing that my grandfather worked the same fields that I'm working now. And I enjoy it. I mean, when you're out in the middle of the field and you hear the birds chirping and you just hear yourself breathe, there's nothing like it. It's a peaceful feeling.